Have you ever get that feeling you're being watched? Not by some creep with binoculars. No, something worse. Something that doesn't belong here. I should have known the moment I saw her. Serafina Vex, my new neighbor with the silver hair and eyes that glowed just a little too bright in the dark. She moved like a predator, spoke in riddles, and never, ever slept. But the real warning sign? The way she looked at me, like I wasn't just a man, like I was prey. And then the noises started. The scratching, the growling. The night she pinned me to the wall and whispered, "You should have run when you had the chance." Please wait. Before we start, tap that iCar button in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. All right, let's dive into the story. The morning sun filtered through the dusty windows of the old tavern, casting long shadows across the worn wooden floor. The air smelled of ale and roasted meat, a comforting mix that had drawn in more than a few weary travelers. At a corner table, a broad-shouldered man with a scar running down his cheek leaned forward, his voice a low rumble. "You're telling me you actually saw it? The amulet of Varen? With your own eyes?" Across from him, a wiry woman with sharp green eyes smirked, twirling a dagger between her fingers. "Oh, I saw it all right. Glowing like a damn star it was. Problem is, so did half the mercenaries in the Black Hollow." A third figure, a lanky young man with ink-stained fingers, nearly spilled his drink as he leaned in. "Then why aren't they here? If it's real, why isn't the whole place crawling with treasure hunters?" The woman's smirk faded, replaced by a grimace. "Because the ones who got close, they didn't come back. Something's guarding it, something that doesn't like visitors." The scarred man let out a rough laugh, slamming his tankard down. "Ghosts? Curses? Save the fairy tales for children, Rena. If there's gold to be had, I'm not letting a few shadows scare me off." Rena's dagger thudded into the table, quivering between his fingers. "Then you're a fool, Garrick. That thing's not just treasure, it's death wrapped in pretty stones." The young man, Elias, swallowed hard. "So, what do we do?" A slow grin spread across Garrick's face. "We go get it, of course, but we do it smart. Rena here knows the way, and you," he jabbed a finger at Elias. "You're the only one who can read those old texts. We need to know what we're dealing with." Rena rolled her eyes but pulled her dagger free. "Fine, but when you're screaming for your mama, don't say I didn't warn you." Elias fidgeted, his voice barely above a whisper. "And if it's really cursed?" Garrick clapped him on the back, nearly knocking him out of his seat. "Then we'll be rich and interesting. Now drink up. We leave at dawn." Outside, the wind howled through the narrow streets, carrying the scent of distant rain. Somewhere beyond the city walls, the amulet waited, and with it, answers to questions none of them were ready to ask. The tavern door creaked open, a hooded figure stepping inside, their gaze locking onto the trio. "Word of advice," the stranger said, voice like gravel. "Turn back now. That thing you're after? It's not just a prize. It's a test." Garrick's grin didn't waver. "Good thing we're passing students." The strangers shook their head and vanished into the crowd, leaving silence in their wake. Rena exhaled sharply. "I hate ominous warnings." Elias stared at the door, his fingers trembling. "Too late to back out now, I guess." Garrick raised his tankard. "To fortune, then, and not dying horribly." The others reluctantly joined the toast, the clink of their cups drowned out by the storm brewing outside, both in the sky and in the days to come. Chapter 2. The first few days in the duplex were unsettling in ways I couldn't quite explain. Serafina Vex wasn't just mysterious. She was wrong. Not in an obvious way, but in the little things that stacked up until my instincts screamed at me to pay attention. I first noticed it on the second morning. I left for work at 7 a.m., and as I locked my door, I caught movement in her window, just a flicker of silver hair before the blind snapped shut. Odd. Most people open their curtains in the morning. That evening, I came home to find her standing in the shared backyard, staring at the sky. Not at the sunset, not at the clouds, just up, like she was waiting for something. "Hey," I called out, trying to sound casual. "Nice night, huh?" She didn't turn immediately. When she did, her gaze was unnervingly direct. "You're observant, Jake." Thanks." She stepped closer, and I caught a faint scent, something sharp and metallic like ozone after a storm. Most humans don't notice the sky unless it's falling. I laughed, but it came out strained. "What's that supposed to mean?" Her lips curled, not quite a smile. "Nothing. Just making conversation." The third day was worse. I woke up at 3 a.m. to a sound like nails dragging down the shared wall. I sat up, heart pounding. "Serafina?" Silence. Then a low, shuddering breath from the other side. "Go back to sleep, Jake." Her voice was rough, strained. "You okay over there?" A pause. Then, a humorless chuckle. "Define okay. I should have left it alone. But curiosity or stupidity made me knock on her door. It swung open before my fist landed. Serafina stood there, her form-fitting suit torn at the shoulder, revealing a patch of shimmering, scale-like skin beneath. She looked hungry. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice dropping to a growl. I took a step back. "What's going on with you?" Her pupils dilated, the green of her eyes almost glowing. "Bad timing." She grabbed my wrist, her grip scorching hot. "Listen carefully. If you hear noises tonight, do not come over. No matter what." I yanked my arm free. "Are you in some kind of trouble?" She bared her teeth, just for a second, before forcing a calm expression. "Trouble? No, but you'll be if you don't leave." The door slammed in my face. That night, the noises returned. Scratching, growling, a thud so hard it rattled my bookshelf. I gripped my baseball bat, debating whether to call the cops or run. Then I heard her voice through the wall, ragged and desperate. "Don't let me out." And that's when I knew whatever was happening next door wasn't something the police could handle. Chapter 3. The forest was alive with whispers, the kind that slithered between the trees and clung to the back of the neck. Elias stumbled over a gnarled root, his breath coming in short, panicked bursts. "I told you we shouldn't have taken this path," he hissed, clutching his satchel like a shield. The map set around the black fen, not through it. Rena, ahead of him, didn't even glance back. The map was 50 years old. The fun's grown. Unless you'd rather swim with the leeches, this is the way. Garrick, hacking at a thick vine with his sword, grunted in agreement. "Quit whining, scribbler. A little mud never killed anyone." A wet, slithering sound echoed from the shadows. "That wasn't mud," Elias whispered. Rena's hand went to her dagger. "Move. Now." They broke into a run just as something massive surged from the undergrowth, a creature of slick, mottled flesh and too many teeth, its jaws gaping wide. Garrick spun, swinging his blade with a roar. Steel met hide, and the thing screeched, recoiling. "Keep running," he bellowed. Elias didn't need telling twice. He sprinted, heart hammering, until the trees thinned and the ground sloped upward. Rena hauled him over a rocky outcrop, where they collapsed, gasping. Garrick staggered up last, wiping black ichor from his sword. "See? Nothing to it." Elias glared. "You're insane." Rena smirked. "Told you he'd say that." Before Garrick could retort, a flicker of light caught their eyes, a faint, unnatural glow deeper in the woods. Elias went very still. "That's not fire." Rena's smirk vanished. "No, it's not." The glow pulsed, rhythmic like a heartbeat. The air hummed with something old and hungry. Garrick's grip tightened on his sword. "Well, guess we found our amulet's welcome party." Elias swallowed. "Or it found us." A voice, soft and sing-song, drifted from the trees. "Lost little mortals." Rena's dagger was out in an instant. "Show yourself." The undergrowth parted, revealing a figure draped in tattered silks, their face hidden beneath a hood. The glow came from their hands, a swirling, sickly light that made Elias's stomach turn. "The amulet of Varen does not give up its secrets lightly," the figure crooned. "But perhaps you're worthy. Or perhaps you're just more bodies for the fun." Garrick bared his teeth. "Try us." The figure laughed, the sound like breaking glass. Then the light flared, and the world exploded into pain. Elias woke to Rena slapping his cheek. Up, now, groaning, he staggered to his feet. The forest was silent, the figure gone. But in the dirt, scorched into the earth, were words in a language that made his blood run cold. Rena eyed him. Can you read it? Elias nodded slowly. It says, "The price is memory." Garrick scowled. What in the seven hells does that mean? A branch snapped in the distance. Too loud. Too deliberate. Rena shoved Elias forward. It means run. Again. And they did, the forest swallowing their footsteps as the glow behind them deepened into something darker. Something waiting. Chapter 4. The ropes weren't holding. I'd used every knot I knew from Boy Scouts, even reinforced them with duct tape, but Seraphina's wrists kept slipping free. She thrashed against the bed frame, her body arching unnaturally as another wave of whatever alien biology controlled her took over. "Jake, get out," she snarled, her voice layered with something guttural and human. "Not happening," I said, yanking the last knot tighter. "You said yourself if you get loose, you'll hunt. I'm not letting you tear up the neighborhood." Her laugh was sharp, jagged. "You think I'd stop at the neighborhood?" A chill shot down my spine. I'd seen her eyes fully slitted now, her teeth just a little too sharp when she spoke. But it was the way her muscles rippled under her skin that made my stomach twist, like something beneath was trying to break free. She suddenly went still, panting. "Listen to me. My species, we don't mate like yours. It's not voluntary when the cycle hits." I froze. "What are you saying?" Her gaze locked onto mine, fever bright. "I'll take what I need, and you won't survive it." The air between us crackled with something electric, dangerous. I should have bolted, but then she shuddered, a whimper escaping her clenched teeth, and the raw pain in it kept me rooted. "So what? I'm just supposed to tie you up and wait it out." I snapped. "How long does this last?" 3 days. Maybe 4. She jerked against the restraints, her claws, actual claws, digging into the mattress. "But the ropes won't hold. Nothing will unless..." She cut herself off. "Unless what?" Her chest heaved. "Unless you sedate me. Or kill me." A beat of silence. Then I snorted. "Yeah, no. I'm not murdering my weirdly hot alien neighbor because she's got space PMS." Her head snapped up. "What? Look, there's got to be another way." I dragged a hand through my hair. "What do your people normally do?" "On my world, we have mates," she spat. "Bonded pairs that can withstand the cycle. But here, I'm alone." The last word came out broken. I exhaled hard. "Okay, new plan. You said it's about biology, right? There's no off switch? No medicine?" She went eerily still. "There's one thing." "Great." "What?" Her slitted pupils dilated. "Physical contact, but not just any touch. It has to be..." A deafening crack cut her off as the bed frame splintered. One wrist broke free, then the other. She was on me before I could blink, pinning me to the wall, her breath scorching against my throat. "Consensual," she finished, voice dripping with dark amusement. "So, still feeling heroic, Jake?" I had exactly half a second to decide. Fight, flee, or listen to the part of me that had been staring at her sleek black suit and wicked smile since day one. I swallowed hard. Defined consensual. Chapter 5. The ruins loomed ahead, jagged teeth of stone jutting from the earth like the ribs of some long-dead beast. The air here was thick, stale, as if the wind itself refused to breathe. Elias wiped sweat from his brow, his fingers trembling around the ancient parchment. "It's here," he whispered, "the last marker before the inner sanctum." Garrick cracked his knuckles, grinning. "About damn time. I was starting to think your fancy book learning was just slowing us down." Rena shot him a glare. "His fancy book learning is the only reason we're not rotting in that swamp. Show some respect." Elias ignored them, tracing the faded ink with a fingertip. "There's a warning. He who seeks the amulet must first lose himself." Garrick snorted. "More riddles. Wonderful." A cold gust howled through the ruins, carrying with it the faintest whisper of laughter. Rena's hand went to her dagger, We're not alone. The shadows at the base of the ruins shifted, coalescing into a figure, hooded, just like the one in the forest, but taller, more deliberate. Its voice was a dry rasp, like parchment dragged over stone. You have come far, little thieves. But the amulet is not for you. Garrick stepped forward, sword raised. We'll be the judges of that. The figure didn't move. You do not even know what it is. What truly holds. Elias swallowed hard. Then tell us. For a moment there was silence. Then the figure lifted a skeletal hand, and the ground beneath them moved. Rena cursed as cracks spiderwebbed through the stone. Move! Now! They barely leaped aside as the earth split open, yawning into a black chasm. From its depths rose a sound. Not a roar, not a scream, but something worse. A whispering, countless voices tangled together. Garrick paled. What in the hells? The price is memory, the figure intoned. To claim the amulet, you must first surrender what you hold dearest. Your past. Yourself. Elias's breath came fast. That's why no one's ever retrieved it. They forgot why they came. Rena grabbed his arm. Then we leave. Now. The figure's laughter followed them as they ran. Too late. You have already stepped into its grasp. A pulse of light erupted from the chasm. Not the sickly glow from before, but something deeper. Older. Elias stumbled, his vision swimming. Faces flickered at the edges of his sight. His mother's smile, the scent of old books, the name of his first teacher, all slipping away like sand through his fingers. Garrick roared, shaking his head like a dog shedding water. Fight it. Whatever it's doing, fight. Rena's voice was strained. Elias, say something. Anything. He opened his mouth and froze. Who was Elias? The figure loomed over them, its hood billowing in an unfelt wind. The amulet guards itself. To seek it is to be undone. Garrick snarled, swinging his sword in a wild arc, then we'll break it. The blade passed through the figure like smoke. The whispering rose to a crescendo, and then, with a final, searing flash, the world went black. Chapter 6. The moment her claws touched my throat, time slowed to a crawl. I could feel the sharp points just barely pressing into my skin, not breaking it, but the threat was crystal clear. Seraphina's breath came in ragged, heated bursts against my face, her emerald eyes flickering between predatory hunger and something else, something desperate. You had your chance to run, she growled, her voice layered with that eerie, otherworldly resonance. I swallowed hard, my pulse hammering where her claws rested. Yeah, well, I've never been great at taking hints. Her lips curled, revealing those unervingly sharp canines. Stupid human, guilty as charged. I forced a shaky grin. But if you were going to kill me, you'd have done it already. A low, rumbling sound vibrated in her chest. Part growl, part frustrated laugh. Don't tempt me. She leaned in closer, her body pressed against mine, radiating unnatural heat. I could feel the tension in her muscles, the way she trembled with the effort of holding back. Seraphina, I said carefully, you told me yourself, this isn't you. You don't want this. Her claws twitched. You don't know what I want. I know you warned me. I know you tried to keep me away. I kept my voice steady, even as my instincts screamed at me to bolt. That's not what a monster does. For a heartbeat, she went perfectly still. Then, with a snarl, she wrenched herself away, stumbling back like my words had physically burned her. You don't understand, she hissed, her voice cracking. This need, it hurts. It's like fire in my veins. And if I can't, she clutched at her chest, her claws digging into her own skin. I didn't think. I just moved. Before she could react, I grabbed her wrists, pulling her hand away from herself. Her skin was scorching, almost too hot to touch. Then let me help, I said, my voice rough. She froze, her eyes widening. What? You heard me. I tightened my grip, refusing to let go even as she tensed. You said it yourself. Contact helps. So let's try it. before you tear a hole in the wall again." A flicker of disbelief crossed her face, followed by something dangerously close to hope. "You're insane." "Yeah, probably." I smirked. "But you're stuck with me." For a long moment, she just stared at me, her breath uneven. Then, slowly, the tension in her shoulders eased, just a fraction. "This is a terrible idea," she muttered. "Worst I've ever had." And then, before either of us could second-guess it, I pulled her in. The second our lips met, the world shifted. Her gasp was swallowed by the kiss, her body shuddering against mine. The heat between us wasn't just physical. It was like electricity, like something alive. Her claws dug into my shoulders, but not to hurt, to hold on. When we finally broke apart, her eyes were still slitted, still wild, but the madness in them had dulled, replaced by something far more dangerous. Understanding. She touched her lips, stunned. It worked. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. "Yeah, guess I'm just that good." She punched me in the arm, hard. "Don't ruin it." But for the first time since this nightmare started, she was smiling. And that was the moment I knew we were both screwed. Chapter 7. The darkness peeled back like a curtain, revealing a chamber bathed in eerie blue light. Elias blinked, his head pounding as if someone had taken a hammer to his skull. The others lay nearby, Garrick groaning as he pushed himself up, Rena already on her feet, dagger drawn. "Where?" Elias began, then froze. The amulet of Varen hung in the air before them, suspended by nothing, its gem pulsing like a living heart. Garrick let out a low whistle. "Well, there it is." Rena didn't lower her weapon. "Too easy." A voice echoed through the chamber, smooth as oil. "Easy? Oh no, little blade. You have already paid the price." The hooded figure from the ruins materialized beside the amulet, its form flickering like a dying flame. "Look at yourselves. Tell me what you see." Elias glanced down, and his breath caught. His hands were translucent, fading at the edges. What is this?" "The amulet takes," the figure whispered. "Memory first, then flesh. Soon, there will be nothing left of you at all." Garrick flexed his fingers, his usual bravado slipping. "Then we smash the damn thing and undo it. Break the amulet, and what it has claimed will be lost forever." The figure tilted its head. "But take it, and you may yet reclaim what was stolen." Rena's eyes narrowed. "Liar. Perhaps." The figure smiled, though it had no mouth. "But are you willing to risk it?" Elias stepped forward, his voice steadier than he felt. "What do you want?" "A trade," the figure crooned. "The amulet for a story. The truth of why you seek it." Garrick scoffed. "Gold. Power. Same as anyone." "Liar," the figure hissed, suddenly inches from his face. "You seek redemption for the village you failed. The sister you could not save." Garrick recoiled as if struck. Rena's grip on her dagger tightened. "And me? You seek freedom," the figure murmured. "From the oath that binds you. From the blood on your hands." Silence. Then Elias swallowed. "And me?" The figure turned, its hollow gaze piercing. "You seek knowledge, even if it destroys you." The amulet pulsed, its light thickening like syrup. Elias could feel it pulling at him, whispering promises, his memories, his self, just within reach. Garrick lunged first, his sword flashing. "Enough talk." The figure vanished. The amulet screamed. The chamber shook, cracks racing up the walls as the light twisted, warped, and then exploded. Elias hit the ground hard, his vision swimming. When it cleared, the amulet lay before him, inert. The figure was gone. Rena staggered over, her form solid once more. "Is it over?" Garrick picked up the amulet, turning it in his hands. "Seems like it." Elias reached for it. And the moment his fingers brushed the gem, a flood of images assaulted him. The village, the sister, the oath, the truth. He gasped, wrenching his hand back. "It's not a treasure. It's a test." Rena frowned. "Then we passed." Garrick tucked the amulet into his belt, his grin returning. "Damn right we did. Now, let's get the hells out of here before something else tries to eat us." As they turned toward the exit, the ruins around them began to crumble. Not into dust, but into light, fading like a dream upon waking. Elias glanced back once, just in time to see the last flicker of the figure, watching, waiting. Until next time, it whispered, and then they were free. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and, as always, keep the last light burning.